Hello, this is Patry, and I will be answering today some questions that one of my fellow student teacher has asked me, well, prepared for me. So first thing I would like to say is sorry for the crappy sound. I would usually use my personal camera, but problem with technical issues. So I will be doing it on my computer webcam, which kind of has bad sound. Anyway, so the first question is, as a student teacher, what might be the biggest challenge you had to face during your practicum? What would you do differently? So that's an excellent question, and I would answer with this to this question by explaining to you first why I did this. So the first thing you must know is my co-student teacher and I had four groups. We had two core program, regular types. We had one also a core program, but they were santé globale, and we had an adaptation program. So of course, the adaptation program is kind of difficult. They are not necessarily as motivated as other groups, and they don't necessarily do as good in writing, reading, and speaking than the others. So we had to prepare something differently. We had to prepare a different evaluation for their competency too, which was asked us to do. So the regular students had to watch a video of Ariana Grande doing impersonations, and the others, after this, after watching the video, they had to answer a question sheet, and the adaptation program, they had to do a dictation. I truly wanted to do a dictation for one of my groups at least once during the practicum. Sorry about this. So yeah, I really wanted to make them do a dictation, so I wanted to try this, and the only time I could was during a C2, during a reinvestment of reading and the reading part. So yeah, I decided to write a dictation for them, and I used what I thought was simple words and simple verb tenses. They were secondary too, so I thought by now they would know the past tense. I thought they would know many words. So what I did for the dictation is it talked about Jean-Baptiste Slowly. I think the story is kind of interesting. It's the real story of the French composer who used a staff to give tempo, and by giving tempo, he was so much into it that at one point he hit himself. He hit himself in the foot and died of gangrene. So I thought it would be cool for students. So so I had to evaluate their C2. What I wanted to do was to evaluate their comprehension, their understanding of what I was saying. So by how I would do this is I would collect their dictation and not correct their grammar or their vocabulary. So I know it's kind of weird when you say this about a dictation, but it kind of worked. I'll give you an example. We had, for example, a date 1892. So yeah, if a student wrote 1882, that would be good because the student understood what I was trying to say. But for example, if a student wrote 18, so if he wrote 8TEEN and 82, well, he did it wrong because he did not understand I was trying to get a date from them. So that's how I wanted to do this, and it didn't quite work well. Of course, they did not want to do it. It wasn't a written evaluation. They thought it was long. It was 8 sentences long. I had to, on the spot, cut 2 of the sentences out, which I thought were kind of cool because anyway, it was like was kind of a player. Anyway, so I was mentioning it and not going too much into details, but anyway, I really thought they would like it. They did not really like the dictation because they said it was too long, it was too difficult. They did not quite understand the past tense. I actually had to explain to them most of what I wanted. Well, I had to translate in French. So you see, the C2 evaluation did not quite work well with them, and that is something I would do differently because, of course, I would not use a C2 evaluation. I would not use a dictation for a C2 evaluation. That was my mistake, and it was enriching. It was really a nice experience because now I know that, well, I know that I will not do it again. And dictation is quite effective for students, I think, because they can look in the dictionary even though they don't like it in 2017. but it's a really good experience for them when they try to get new words. So it's good for their vocabulary. Anyway, I'm not trying to give you the benefits of what a dictation can do, but a thing I would do differently, Gabriella, is not do a dictation with the adaptation program. Of course, look at the verb tense and use something that is more um, effective for a C2 evaluation. So reading or watching a video, but not a dictation. That's not how it's done. Now, next question that you asked me is, during your practicum, having to deal with students getting physical or verbal, how did you approach the situation or situations? Taking a step back, would you have acted differently? Explain your answer. And she also says that the question is in my entry 22 of my journal, my journal de bord. So what happened was the language technician, sorry, we'll call her Geneviève because we'll not use her real name. She was giving the class, and it was also with my adaptation program. So it was Wednesday, 4th period. They had an activity class, so it was kind of cool. Everybody was having a good time. But at a certain point, I saw a student giving a hit with his binder to someone. Like he just gave a hit. So of course, when I saw it, I acted. I was okay. What are you doing? And he said, "Oh no, we're playing." And I thought, okay, maybe he is. I looked at the student, and he had a big smile on his face. And I was like, okay, even though you're playing, guys, don't do it. You're in a high school. You're not supposed to do this. I'm supposed to ground, not to ground you, but I'm supposed to lecture you. So they were having fun. So it just went like this. And a second time during the period, I saw that same kid. We will call him Gabriel. I'm sorry about this. If you just give me a second, I will make it up to you. Computers, right? Okay, you can put this in the bloopers if you want. As I was saying. So, the kid, yeah, so a second time, I saw the kid running at the same student, and this time he punched him in the back. And even though he said it wasn't a hard punch, it kind of made a boom, which I really didn't like. And at this point, even though they were trying to mess around, I was really mad. So at this point, I had to I used his name, so I think I said I will call him Gabriel anyway. So at this point, I just said, "Okay, Gabriel, laisse faire." And then he turned around and was like, "Oh, I think I did something wrong," and indeed he did. So that's the story, and I had to lecture him, and I had to explain him seriously. Okay, guys, we're in high school. You can play rough if you want, but not like this. This is unacceptable. And next time I see this, I didn't tell him you're grounded. I told him that he would be out of the class, and that could be even worse. So anyway, I tried to kind of scare him off. So that is how I did approach the situation. And to answer your question, Gabriela, taking a step back, if I would have acted differently, I think I would have acted more effectively on the first time I saw this when he gave him a binder hit. So yeah, I think I should have I don't know. I would have done something more effective. Maybe give him a homework. Well, not necessarily homework because it's not really related. But I would have lectured him, of course, the first time. And the second time, at this point, on the second time, I would have acted and either kicked him out of the class for this time or reported him to someone. So, yeah, I should have actually acted before that. Yeah, I think that's what I should have done. But anyway, the lecturing thing, what I did was, I think it was good. I should just have done it before, on the first time, rather than just doing, okay, you're just playing. Last question from Gabriel. Do you believe that not being prepared enough has an impact on your teaching? If so, what are the plausible impacts? And she says, example from the video when I had to change the guidelines. Yeah, I get the example. I'll come back to the example, but to answer the question first, not being prepared enough is, of course, it has an impact on the teaching. It's I think that you could see it as you're doing an oral and you're presenting in front of the class and you're not prepared enough. Of course, it will have an impact of what you're doing. You have to be prepared for this. So even though you have to use certain logic, that when you go in front of the class, you can speak with students and not necessarily follow points by points. At what time you're supposed to do this? After 7 minutes, I'm supposed to be in front of the class and saying to Gabriel, okay, Gabriel, what is the question for number 9? So of course you have to give yourself a bit of freedom like this, but you always have to be prepared. And I will now I'll explain you what happened on the video. I was actually giving them a C3 evaluation, so I was giving them the situation they had to write about. So it was their character as a musician. They had to explain, to give a biography. So they had to explain where they were from, what they were special about, what kind of instrument they were playing, things like this. So it was really a creative activity. I think it was fun. I think they liked it too. But at a point, I had to change them because for the adaptation program, it was okay. So I asked them in the evaluation grid. Actually, that's what I had to change. So when I give the instructions, I also gave them the evaluation grid. So on the evaluation grid, at first I said they had to give me, I think it was 7 facts about themselves. So for example, I was born in Quebec is one fact. And then my associate teacher told me that it was not enough, that they should have more. And she told me to look at it, so I ended up giving them 12 facts. And then when I gave them the evaluation grid, I had to be careful because when I was reading it, I actually didn't save it on my USB key. So that's why the file I opened, it was still saying, give me 5 or 7 examples of facts. So yeah, so I had to change it on the spot, and I was telling to students, okay guys, you will have to please correct this for 12, and okay, do it. But of course nobody told me that they had the good sheet with the good information. So at a certain point my co-student teacher told me Sam, it's because it's already on it. So yeah, I spent about 5 minutes wasting my time because no student told me that the sheet was good and I was mistaken. So that's the explanation for the second part of your question, Gabriela. And of course, well, I don't really have to tell you more about being prepared enough. I think it's the first thing that teachers should be prepared for, having a clear lesson plan, making sure that everything is ready, that a teacher has everything he will need for the class. So for example, at one point I had a quiz to do with students, and of course I didn't really have planned it before, so because I really wanted to do something and I just thought of it like on the last minute. So I thought, oh yeah, I have 20 minutes more or less that I could do something. So I had to prepare a quiz on PowerPoint. So of course I was home, and what I did of my whole afternoon was to prepare the PowerPoint, and I ended up finishing it at more or less midnight. So yeah, the day after I was really prepared for it, and I was excited about it. But if I wasn't excited about this activity, I think I would have really been tired because I felt it. I only gave my lesson at 3 in the afternoon, 3 more or less, and I was tired. And even though I was tired, though, it was really a cool activity, and I would do it again. I had also props. I had a pig that would make sound. I had a bicycle bell. I had a chicken that would make sound too. And what I did is I gave one of these props to all of the groups, and when I gave the activity, they had to answer by sounding what they had to. And so of course I had the team piggy, I had the team chicken, I had the team bicycle. So they chose their bands, well, not their bands, but they chose their groups, their group name with the prop they had. That was really a cool activity, and I think the main point why this was so funny is because I was prepared. At this point, if I hadn't been prepared, it could have gone to a catastrophe. So these were the 3 questions from Gabriela Eden, and my name is Samuel Patry, and thank you for watching this video. Have a good day.